topic. It's open forum. First hour, Jimmy Akin with us. Second hour, Tim Staples. The number to call, 888-318-7884. As you have probably guessed, we are going to also be raising some money this hour, so I'll only give out this number a few times, and then we're going to have to give out the pledge number after that. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask on air, you are welcome to call 888-318-7884, 888-318-7884. And the other number has to do with our pledge drive. The way it works, we fund this little effort we have here called Making This Radio Program, Catholic Answers Live, and doing the other media that we do around here, simply by coming to you and asking you to support that work for 3 months at a time. And so we ask 4 times a year to be funded for the next 3 months, and that costs $225,000. So we're in the midst of that. We're in the second day of 3 days. We'll take 6 hours to do that. We won't take all the time each hour. As a matter of fact, we'll just break in every now and then to ask you to call 888-291-8000 and make your pledge. Jimmy Akin, thank you very much for being here with us today.
My pleasure. And why don't we start out today by going over the different levels that people may want to give at? Because, you know, we are looking for one-time gifts, but in particular, we're looking for recurring monthly gifts, you know, gifts where we know what's going to be coming in every month, so it's a dependable source of income for us, and we can plan based on that. And there are different suggested levels of giving. Now, yesterday, we went through them kind of lickety-split, Cy Kellett. So today, maybe let's not dig down on them in a great deal of depth, but go through them at a little more of a relaxed pace so people can process what we're saying a little bit better. One of the levels that is a suggested giving level is just $10 a month. So that's, you know, $120 a year, but $10 a month, easily something that almost everybody in the audience can afford. And what we also have thank yous that we would like to give people for their support. So, Cy Kellett, tell me, what is the thank you that we would like to send people for if they can donate at $10 a month, just $10?
We will send them. And by the way, all of these pledges will be matched dollar for dollar. We'll send you the welcome box. You get that in your email, and then you sign in to the Society 315, and then you get a T-shirt, a Catholic Answers car magnet, and a coupon code to shop at Catholic Answers Shop. But then you also get different things a few times
throughout
a
the year.
To say thanks for being a member of the club and to interact with the other members of the club.
So for $10 a month, you join the Society 315. That's a giving society we have here, and you get all those benefits, including the membership package as well as exclusive content throughout the year. The next higher level from that is $20 a month. So that'd be $240 a year. Or you could make a one-time gift of $200, but just $20 a month. We'll give you the welcome package and what else?
Twisted Unto Destruction, the new book from Don Johnson about the social consequences of the Sola Scriptura doctrine. Again, that's if you call 888-291-8000 and make your pledge right now of $20 a month or more.
A step up from there is $45 a month or a one-time gift of $500. And for that, we have another thank you we want to give you in addition to the previous stuff. What would that be?
At the $45 a month pledge level, all of the above, plus Jimmy Akin's book, A Daily Defense, 365 Days, plus one to becoming a better apologist.
Yeah, and you don't have to say all of the above because there is no above on radio, but and it's included in when I said all of the previous stuff. So we should point out these are cumulative tiers. You get, and whatever tier you donate at, you get the thank yous for the lower tier. So that's the $45 tier. You get the 2 books and the welcome package. If you go to the next level, it's $84 a month. And you might wonder, why $84? Well, it's because if you multiply it by 12 months, it adds up to $1,000. And $1,000 a year is the amount for joining another giving society known as the President's Club. And if you give $84 a month, which almost, I won't say everybody can afford, but lots of people can afford $84 a month. It's not even $100 a month. You get a variety of benefits from that, including access to VIP receptions at Catholic Answers conferences, cruises, and other events. You get a free copy of everything we publish during the year. So that's all the books and booklets and DVDs and audio sets. You also get all of the magazines we publish during the course of the year. And you get an invitation to our annual Founders Circle weekend and access to the apologetic work of Tom Nash, who is an apologist that we work with, who specifically answers questions coming from President's Club members. So as a President's Club member, you get to ask questions with, Tom Nash making it a priority to answer them for you. The final regular recommended giving level is $417 a month. And that's another odd number. Why 417? Why is that? Well, if you multiply it by 12, it adds up to $5,000. And $5,000 is the entry level for our highest giving society, which is called the Founders Circle. In addition to all the benefits from the President's Club, if you join the Founders Circle, you also get complimentary registration for you and your spouse at the annual Founders Circle weekend, and you get special access to courses that aren't published per se. They're not in book or DVD form, but on the Catholic Answers School of Apologetics, an online school we have, you get access to that as well. So we really do want to hear from you. The number to call, as Cy said, is 888-291-8000. Once again, it's 888-291-8000. You also can go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com from anywhere in the world, so you don't have to be here in North America. You also can go 24 hours a day, any day of the week. So it's all-time access. You just go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. You get exactly the same benefits. The levels are exactly the same, and you can donate safely and securely online. So please do give us a call. The number, once again, is 888-291-8000. We have two of our Catholic Answers employees who are currently taking phone calls, and 10 who are not currently taking phone calls, but they're waiting at their desks to take your call, so you'll get through quickly and easily. It only takes a few seconds. So please do give us a call, 888-291-8000. Now, Cy Kellett, we typically have matches for the hours of the radio drive. What kind of match do we have this hour?
Two matches, as a matter of fact, Jimmy, for anyone who calls 888-291-8000 or goes safe and secure online to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. Every pledge, whether it's a one-time pledge, a monthly pledge, it is matched dollar for dollar up to $20,000 this hour. And then for any new monthly pledge, there is an additional dollar for dollar match. So essentially, your money gets tripled. If you say, Jimmy mentioned that $10 per month level, the kind of introductory level to the Society 315, well, that would be matched once and then once again. So it would be $30 a month to us. A perfect time to make your pledge. 888-291-8000.
Now, yesterday, Cy, we had an okay first hour. We had some very large gifts that helped us get to that first $20,000 match. The second hour, we had problems. Some of them were technical. We were apparently off of EWTN for a couple of minutes that interrupted people's feed. Also, because of the time of year. During our second hour, a lot of our stations are sundowners, and they're actually not on the air, so fewer people were hearing us. And we really struggled to get our second hour $20,000 match made. It did happen overnight, so that's good, but we don't want to get into that kind of problematic situation today. So we really do need to hear from you. Also, yesterday, I mentioned I wanted to plant a seed because in order to get to our overall drive goal, we will need to hear from people who are able to make larger donations, like $1,000, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000. If you're one of the people who could consider making a donation of that amount. I understand you may need to check, do some checking. You may need to check with your spouse. You may need to check, what account am I going to pull it from, or, what kind of stock am I going to use for that? So please be thinking about that now. Now, if you're already in a position where you can donate that, please do just give us a call and make that commitment. It'll be off your plate. It'll be one less thing you got to do. But by all means, please do contact us and make your donation, make your pledge by tomorrow, by the end of the radio drive. So just want to remind you about that. Also, we need donations at every other kind of level, whether it's large or small. So please do give us a call, 888-291-8000.
888-291-8000. There are 14 folks ready to take your calls. Just 6 calls, just 6 lines occupied. So it'd be easy to get you in there and out of there if you need to be quick about it. 888-291-8000. But I am going to go to the phones and get a question for Jimmy. Jesse in Detroit, listening on the iHeartRadio app. We're glad you're here, Jesse. Go ahead with your question for Jimmy.
Okay, thanks so much for taking my call. Really love your guys' show, and I've learned so much just becoming Catholic in the past year or so. My question has to do with grace, and I understand that there's a couple different types of graces, being actual grace and sanctifying grace. But I was talking with a Protestant buddy, and he brought up, states of grace and how that sort of fits into the equation of grace. So my question is, how can we as Christians kind of think about states of grace given the two types of grace, if that makes sense?
Okay, so you were cutting in and out a little bit there on your phone, Jesse, but I got enough of the question that I think I can answer it for you. In Catholic theology, the term state of grace is used principally to refer to having the gift of sanctifying grace. Sanctifying grace is the type of grace that enables us to have spiritual union with God. And so if we have sanctifying grace in our souls, then we are said to be in a state of grace. The other major kind of grace that gets discussed is known as actual grace. And actual grace is given to us to help us perform specific acts. For example, if I'm about to feed a hungry person or give clothing to a naked person, those are physical acts of mercy. They're acts of grace towards that person, and so God gives me the kind of grace that will enable me to perform these loving actions, and that because it's oriented towards action. That kind of grace is referred to as actual grace because it's oriented to actions. And like picking up the phone and helping Catholic Answers keep going. That's another one, just by the way. In any event, we don't typically talk about actual grace as being a state of grace. It is a grace that puts us into an ongoing, enduring state. The grace in Catholic theology that does that, as I said, is sanctifying grace. It's grace that makes us holy in a way that puts us into a state of spiritual union with God. And so that's the way we use this terminology in Catholic theology. Terminology can be used other ways in other communities. So, in talking to your Protestant friend, I wouldn't say, oh, you're using the terminology wrong. I don't know exactly how they would be using the terminology in his particular circle of Protestantism, but you can certainly ask him, and we can, as Catholics and Protestants, we can learn to translate between the language that gets used in the different communities.
And thank you very, very much for the call and for the question. We're going to do our very best to get as many folks on as we can with Jimmy this hour and with Tim next hour, but we are in the middle of our very last opportunity to come to you and ask you for your support this year. We will just be on for 6 hours this week asking you for your support, and then we'll live with the result. We need to raise $225,000 to be fully funded to stay in business, so, keep doing what we're doing for the next 3 months. And to be honest with you, we're adding new things. We've got new things all the time, new social media outreaches, new podcasts, and all of that. And all of that is due to the fact that you have supported us. You've been there to take care of us, support us, build up this apostolate. And now we come to you and ask you once again to support all those things so we can keep trying to do them, trying to share Jesus, trying to share the truth about his church with everybody in the world, because it is tough out there right now. There's a lot of madness in the world. If you're ready to support us, we're ready with some matches from some very generous donors. One match is a $20,000 match this hour. It's a you raise it, you get it kind of match. If we can raise $20,000, we get the full $20,000. And that's on any pledge, whether it's $1 or $10,000, whether it's a one-time pledge or a monthly pledge, it'll all be doubled. 888-291-8000. However, if you start a new monthly pledge, it will be matched again, because we have an additional $65,000 for this pledge drive for those who will make a those who will make a monthly recurring pledge, but a new one. 888-291-8000 is the number to call. We have not filled up the phone lines yet, and we're starting off a little bit slow today, but often the first 15 minutes, you got to get oriented, find the phone, do all that stuff, make a decision. But if we can get you in here today, in this hour, it will save a lot of phone lines. If you're gonna make that pledge anyways, it'll save a lot of phone lines on the busiest day, which will be tomorrow. So your help greatly appreciated here, and we do need it. We're a bit behind right now. 888-291-8000, or safe and secure online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com. If you prefer texting, just text the word Catholic to 24365 right now. All of it, whatever method you use, it is all up for those matches. The matches are applied to any pledge made anywhere. Again, go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, you were saying again, so I'll let you finish. We don't want to leave the audience hanging. They need closure on that phone number.
The number 888-291-8000.
Sai, yesterday I talked just briefly about the biblical theology of giving, because the Bible does have quite a bit to say about this. God's people in the ancient world, whether it was in the Old Testament or the New Testament, in order to do God's work, it needed the support of the people. And so the Bible does talk a good bit about the theology of giving. Jesus is famous for having said that the worker deserves his wages, and he's referring specifically to people who do spiritual work. And that actually is the only saying of Jesus from the Gospels that gets repeated outside. Well, there's one other, but there's one other about the Eucharist. It's one of two sayings of Jesus that gets repeated outside of the Gospels and attributed to Jesus. St. Paul later quotes it as something that Jesus says. And it's on the subject of giving. So this is something our Lord himself talked about. St. Paul also talks a considerable amount about giving. He does so, for example, in his second letter to the Corinthians and in his letter to the Galatians. And 2 Corinthians has a particularly famous passage that I'm going to quote from. In 2 Corinthians, St. Paul is, he's writing to the Corinthian church in Greece, and he's been taking up a collection to give to the poor of the church in Jerusalem. And he's been doing that from multiple different churches. He mentions, for example, that the churches in Macedonia, which is near Greece, they really got on board with this program, and they were really generous, even though they were in an impoverished situation. And so now he's talking to the Corinthians about giving, and he's kind of, in chapter 9, he's kind of summing it up. And he says, the point is this. So now he's really getting to where the rubber meets the road. He says, the point is this: whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. So he's using a sowing and reaping metaphor here, or analogy here. Sowing is when you go out into the field and you plant seeds. Reaping is after the plants have grown, you harvest the crop and you get benefit back. Okay, so what do sowing and reaping mean in this context? Well, he's fundraising for this collection. And so the fundraising itself, where people give money, that's the sowing. That's like, in Paul's mind, that's like planting a seed. And so when you give money to this collection, you're planting seeds, and those seeds will bear fruit for you in the future. Because that's what he says. If you sow sparingly, meaning if you give a little bit, well, you're going to reap sparingly. You're not going to get that much benefit. But if you sow bountifully, if you really are generous towards this effort he's conducting, then you will reap bountifully. You'll get a lot of benefit. And he therefore says each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And that also gives you an insight into the kinds of benefit that you'll receive. Now, of course, God can arrange it, and St. Paul points this out. God can arrange it so that you receive benefits even in this life. But fundamentally, God loves a cheerful giver. You're going to receive God's love, and that's something that endures for eternity. And this is something Paul brings out in other passages. But the fundamental message is, by supporting the work of God, which is what we're doing here on Catholic Answers Live, we're teaching God's Word. By supporting the work of God, you will receive rewards from God, including not only rewards in this life, but rewards in the next life that you'll be able to enjoy for all of eternity. So just like St. Paul wanted his readers to enjoy those rewards and receive those rewards, we want the same thing for you, our listeners. We not only want to be able to continue doing the show, we also want you to be able to experience those rewards in this life and in the next. And the way to do that is be a cheerful giver. Please give us a call and sow bountifully. You know, what's bountiful will depend on your means, but give us a call, sow bountifully. The number to call is 888-291-8000. Once again, it's 888-291-8000. I believe we're going to take another call before the break, but then we're going to be going into the break, and that will be an ideal time to call because you won't be missing anything. Currently, there are 10 Catholic Answers employees who are just waiting to take your call, so please give them a call, 888-291-8000.
And back to the phones we go, as it's open forum, and we're happy to take these calls. This is what you are giving the money for, after all, and we don't want to take too much of a break from doing that, but we do need to ask you for your support. And as Jimmy said, lots of lines open right now to take those calls. 888-291-8000. Maybe start a new monthly pledge in any amount. It'll be tripled this hour. 888-291-8000. John in Tennessee is next, watching on YouTube. Hi, John. You got a question for Jimmy?
Hi, yes. I'm a big fan of Jimmy's and Catholic Answers as well. The work you guys do is awesome.
Thank you.
And it's amazing because I've been listening for a while, the wide amount of topics that you guys have knowledge on, and so I just really appreciate it. My question is for Jimmy. If I correct me if I'm wrong, the Catholic Church teaches that baptized believers are in imperfect communion with the church, and I'm assuming that means baptized believers who are ignorant of the Catholic Church teachings. But what about baptized believers who know the Catholic dogmas, believe in them, and most of them or all of them, and yet chooses to remain Protestant or whatever other faith out of fear or whatever the case may be?
Okay, so the Catholic Church acknowledges that we're in a real but imperfect communion with everybody who's baptized. In terms of being in a state of grace, which is something that's not guaranteed just because you're a Catholic, and the reverse is not guaranteed just because you're not a Catholic. And both Catholics and non-Catholics can either be in a state of grace or not. But the fundamental principle, and this was articulated by the Second Vatican Council, but the fundamental principle is, if you know that the Catholic Church is God's church, that it was founded by Jesus and so forth. If you know that, and by know I mean you have evidence that should tell you that, not just that you've heard the claim, but if you have evidence that tells you that the Catholic Church is Jesus's church, then you do need to join it. And if you're, afraid about joining it, okay, God will take that into account, but that may not remove, the problem. You could still be jeopardizing your salvation, just like in the ancient world. If you were in Jesus's day and there was only one church, and you said, wow, I really love that prophet Jesus of Nazareth, and I really think he's a man of God, and I really think he's teaching the truth, and I would like to join his church, but I'm afraid to join his church because people at the synagogue might look down on me. Well, you might be endangering your salvation in that situation. And the same thing is true in principle now. It's great for people who recognize the truth of a lot of what the church teaches and are open to learning more. At some point, though, you do need to act on that truth and go all the way and become Catholic.
Time for the break.
Hope that's helpful. But here we are, as Cy says, with the break. Ideal time to call. Give us a call. The number is 888-291-8000. Once again, 888-291-8000.
Will you do us a favor right now? Clear your mind of all other thoughts and reflect for just a moment on how Catholic Answers Live has made a difference in your life. Has our broadcast made your afternoon commute more meaningful? Perhaps you've learned how to explain the faith to family or friends in a more vibrant, convincing way. Something you heard here may have been just the thing you needed to look into joining or returning to the Catholic faith. All of these are serious reasons to be thankful, first and foremost to God, but also to all who have financially made it possible for us to air the show each day. Believe me, our gratitude could not be deeper. And we're coming to you today during our quarterly membership drive, asking you to join the ranks of the great people whose gifts and sacrifices have helped to turn around countless lives over the years, and, very possibly, helped make an eternal difference for many of them. Think about that for a moment. That's what your prayers and donations to Catholic Answers Live are doing. What a tremendous opportunity is being presented to you right now. Please don't let it pass you by. Call 888-291-8000 or visit CatholicAnswersRadio.com and let one of our fast, friendly customer service team members take your pledge. Large or small, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you call right now. Again, it's 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. We're offering some great appreciation gifts that are sure to deepen your faith life even more. But what's best is you'll have the confidence that when you turn your radio on tomorrow, or next week, or 12 days from now, we'll be here, boldly and charitably presenting the truth to a world that's searching for precisely that. Your pledge is vital to keeping Catholic Answers Live on the air. Will you make the call today to 888-291-8000 or donate securely online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com? Thank you so much in advance. God bless you.
Welcome back. Catholic Answers Live. I'm Cy Kellett, your host. Jimmy Akin, our guest this hour. Next hour, Tim Staples. Open forum both hours. In both hours, we'll be doing just a little bit of fundraising in between answering the questions. I do want to say it's always a little bit exciting to us to get those international calls. So thank you for the call and donation from Canberra, Australia, and another from Scotland. I had to actually look up where this town was. Bells Hill, Scotland. So that was Angela in Canberra and John in Bells Hill, Scotland. Thanks very much for those pledges. Right now I got Chris Check, president of Catholic Answers here, and if you're watching on video, I'm holding a very heavy piece of wood.
Cy, before we talk about that, I want to tell you about 3 calls yesterday.
Okay, please. Yeah.
So Brooke
Chris just wants him to hold that heavy piece of wood for longer.
Yeah, well,
I approve. Go ahead. Tell us the 3 stories, Chris.
Thank you, Jimmy. I love these moments where you and I agree. Okay, so Brooke got a call in customer service yesterday. She said, I love your show. I'm giving you $100. I'm a Protestant. I love your show.
Oh, thank you,
these
Brooke.
we love these calls. So just to let you know, folks, you don't need to be a Catholic to donate to our radio drive. I got a call from a single mother of two in Calexico, which
Right down by the border.
Yeah,
Right on the border.
right here on the border. This is a woman who was financially struggling. She was very candid. She said, "I can give you $10 a month. I can
God
give you
bless
$10 a
her.
month."
Oh, thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's the widow's mite, my friends. And I know she's making sacrifices to do that. But she said, your radio program means everything to me. It's restored me in my faith. It means everything to me. I don't miss a day. So I'm so grateful for it.
Well, we should go out and say hello to her sometime when we're out in
I
the
told
valley, 'cause
I told her to
that's
come.
a really nice thing
Yeah,
to
I told
do.
her to come by and say. And then I had a third call. Now I've forgotten what it is. So, okay, here's the thing. Cy Kellett, and I'm going to describe it to you for you folks in Radio Land, is holding a large, heavy, wooden shield of the Catholic Answers crest, CA, and it is the original, the prototype shield that hung in this studio when we first built the G.K. Chesterton studio here at Catholic Answers 6 years ago. And then just a couple of years ago or less, it went through an update.
Renovation.
Yeah,
Thank
right.
you. Yeah. However, we saved this shield from the original.
and it's heavy.
And it has been in the Catholic Answers Museum all this time.
The museum.
The-
That's what we call it.
John Sorensen's office.
It's called the
Right,
Catholic
yes,
Answers Museum.
Yeah, the
Okay.
operation. Yeah. You getting tired, Si?
No, I'm
Hang
doing
in there. You're
fine.
doing great.
I'm doing fine,
okay.
Chris.
Good. So the entire staff is going to sign it, and it's going to go to the first person who gives us $10,000 today.
All right. The
So
clock
that's
is ticking.
a piece of Catholic Answers history. It's a piece of the Catholic Answers studio.
It is.
And it will go to the first person to give us $10,000.
And actually, although, is this simony? Well, it's not yet. Because you're
it's not
touching.
simony because it's not a spiritual good.
I know, but it's touching Cy Kellett.
Yeah, I
so
think
it's like
that might be simony,
it's
yeah.
like a it's a
That's a very odd
it's a
view of simony.
second class relic.
It's not a second-class relic until he's died in Canada.
Okay, so has the potential
No, we're not killing me for $10,000.
has the potential to be a second class relic.
888-291-8000 is the number to call. First person who calls and gives $10,000 gets this beautiful piece of Catholic Answers history right here.
Signed by the staff. But listen, my friends, $10,000 or $10 a month or $5 a month or $5, whatever it is. We're halfway to our goal for this hour.
For this hour, yeah.
And we're still about 145 short for 165 short to be fully funded. And we need everyone to step up right now. Here, I'm just going to ask this question, and I'm going to let these guys get back to the good work that they do. If you could write a check for $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 and know, if I write that check for $10,000, somebody's going to come into the Catholic Church. One person. You would say, $10,000, I'm going to convert. That is a bargain. In the economy of salvation, that is the most bargainist bargain you can get, right? But Cy and Jimmy here, they can get you more. They'll get you more for you. So if you want to bring souls into the Catholic Church, if you want to strengthen people's relationship with Jesus Christ, if you want to enable them to go out and bring more souls into the Catholic Church, you have to support this program, because that is the work that we do, and we enable everyone who listens to this show to go out and do that work. It's the ripple effect, and you all are part of it. 888-291-8000. Please be generous.
888-291-8000. 10 lines open right now. 5 calls on, 10 lines open. And there's a match on every pledge. Now you're leaving and I'm sitting here holding this. Oh my. Okay. Every single pledge is matched dollar for dollar up to $20,000. But if you pledge a monthly pledge, a new monthly pledge, will be tripled because it'll be matched a second time. 888-291-8000 or safe and secure online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com.
And I want to say some thank yous to people who have been responding to the challenge, responding to the call and giving. Keith from Texas has started donating a little more than $100 a month. He said he listens to us for about 10 to 12 hours a week, and so it's totally worth it, he says. Thank you very much, Keith. Peter from Fredonia, New York, became a President's Club member with a donation of $84 a month. So all I have to say is, hail, hail, Fredonia, land of the brave and free.
Oh, I'm so glad we got that in.
And Any Marx Brothers fans out there who've seen Duck Soup recently will know what that's a reference to. Thank you so much, Peter. Chad and Susie from Wyoming have pledged to donate $1,000. John from Georgia has given an $84 a month pledge and $500 as a one-time gift. And Joyce from North Dakota has made a generous and specific gift of $685. So thank you very much, Joyce, and to everyone who is responding to the call and giving. The number to call is 888-291-8000. Once again, it's 888-291-8000. We have 12 of our fellow Catholic Answers employees who are sitting at their desks waiting to take your call right now.
888-291-8000. And I think our international listeners are doing it on purpose. They're trying to make me happy because I know I get fired up. Now a donation from Christian Sand, which is in, well, let me just find out what country it's in. Norway, Christian Sand, Norway, in Ajer County, Norway. So thank you very much for that pledge from Norway. Again, the number 888-291-8000. Call and make your pledge now. And I'll tell you what, we'll go back to the phones while you do that and let Jimmy take another question. We go now to Julian in Dedham, Massachusetts, watching on YouTube. Julian, thanks for waiting. Go ahead with your question for Jimmy.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call, and thanks for the work you do. So I have a question. I've been looking at apologetics recently. I've heard you, Jimmy, and also Trent Horn and a few others say that God can do anything that isn't logically impossible. So my first question, I have a follow-up, is where do you get that information? How do you know that God can't do the logically impossible, just that our human minds can't grasp how it's possible? And then the follow-up to that would be, if that is true, then how can Jesus be 100% man and 100% God?
Okay, so in regard to the idea that God can do anything that's logically possible, but not anything that's logically impossible, that is the standard view of classical theism. It goes back centuries. St. Thomas Aquinas held that view, so would have previous thinkers. And it has a fairly straightforward base, because if you think about, okay, what is something that is logically possible? Well, it's anything that where the terms involved do not contradict each other. So like if I said a horse with one horn, okay, well, that would be a unicorn, and unicorns are logically possible because there's nothing contradictory between the idea of a horse and having one horn. That's those, you could have horses with any number of horns, and it would be a horned creature. It might not be one of the existing species of horses, but it would still be a horse. Similarly, if I said a green door, well, there's nothing contrary between the term green and door, so you could have a green door. Green doors are logically possible. But if I say four-sided triangle, now we're talking about a horse of a different color with a horn, because four-sided and triangle do contradict. Triangles are shapes that by definition have three sides, and therefore the idea of a four-sided triangle is contradictory. It's just gibberish. It doesn't correspond to anything that could possibly exist, because the terms involved are mutually exclusive. And so God could create green doors or one-horned horses, but he could not create a four-sided triangle. And if you even just think about what would a four-sided triangle even be, you can't imagine something. I mean, you could imagine something that's maybe like has three sides in one dimension and four sides in another dimension, like a prism that's kind of triangular, but it's not a triangle at that point because you've added a dimension. If you're talking about a closed two-dimensional shape, then it has to have, if it has three sides, then it cannot have a fourth side. And so the idea is a logical contradiction, and thus it's something God couldn't make. Now, you alluded, Julian, to situations where there may be a reconciliation, where it is possible for something to exist. It's just beyond what we're able to imagine or easily imagine. And there are situations like that. There are some very mysterious things in the world, and sometimes people's common sense leads them astray, and they think that two things may be contradictory when really there's not, when there may be a way to reconcile them. Well, if there is a way to reconcile them, then they're not logically impossible, and God could make them. So that wouldn't disprove the idea that God can do anything logically possible, but not something logically impossible. It would just expand what's logically possible if there is a reconciliation that we're just not aware of. In terms of your final question, so the idea that Jesus is 100% God and 100% man is a bad way of phrasing it. This is not language that the church uses. This is language that I've heard on the popular level. People who are not careful theologians will sometimes say that, and it will generate exactly the kind of confusion that you expressed, Julian. I mean, how can, if something's 100% one thing, then that's all it can be. It's like if I have a jar that's filled up with 100% water, the water is the only thing in the jar. It can't be 100% water and 100% Coke. That wouldn't make any sense. And similarly, the way people will take the phrase 100% God and 100% man is, how could he be both? Now, what they mean by that is he has a complete divine nature. So he's got 100% of the divine nature. He's got a genuine divine nature. He's got a true divine nature. And he's got a genuine human nature. He has a true human nature, or if you want to put it, he's got 100% of a human nature. But these are two different natures. They're both genuine. They're both true. You can use percentage language for each one of them if you want to do that, but you run the risk of confusing people. But all it means to say Jesus is 100% God and 100% man, that's a bad way to say it, but all it means is he has a complete divine nature and a complete human nature, and so he's both God and man.
Thank you very much for the call. We appreciate that folks have been willing to wait to get their answer, because we do have to do a little bit of fundraising each hour for for today and tomorrow while we finish up our pledge drive. The way these pledge drives work, we ask you to keep us funded for the next 3 months, and thus far it's worked for 25 years. So we're asking you once again, we need to raise $225,000 in order to fully fund the entire operation for the next 3 months. That's the entire studio's operation here, where we make the podcasts and we make the videos and the radio show and the other things that we do, social media. The way you participate, the way you become part of the family here really is 888-291-8000. You just call that number, we'll pick it up, give whatever you can, and it'll get us closer to that goal.
Cy, you mentioned earlier that we got a donation from Norway, and that's not the only international donation we got this hour. We also, for example, got a donation from North Lanarkshire, and so that's really great to hear about. Yesterday we had one from Singapore. So we're seeing people all over the world who are recognizing the value of what we do here on Catholic Answers Live, and they're responding and they're calling in, and some of them are from countries that are not.
Oh, sorry, Jimmy, you froze there for just a quick second.
So
let me just finish up that thought, because someone just gave from Glasgow, Scotland. That's Christine in Glasgow, Scotland. And now I think I'm committed, because I've mentioned every single international pledge that we've gotten this pledge drive. So that means anytime someone comes in from a foreign country and makes a pledge, I'm going to have to say it. I think I've set a standard now. The number is 888-291-8000. Let me explain to you where we are. We're trying to raise $225,000. We're about a little less than $160,000 towards that goal right now. We have 2 matches this hour, the regular $20,000 dollar for dollar match. But that second match, I really want to stress with you, because if you're willing to come in at the $10 a month level, you'd become a member of our Society 315. We'll send you the Society 315 T-shirt and the Catholic Answers car magnet and the coupon code for our shop, at shop.catholic.com. But your pledge is matched again. It is an addition, because it's a $10 per month pledge, and every new monthly pledge is getting that second match until we use up that $65,000 match that we have for that purpose. Perfect time to call. There's 16 folks without anyone on the line with them right now. These are our colleagues right here in the building. Could we try to fill up those phone lines? So we have not seen that yet today, where the lines are full. It would be exciting for us in the building, and certainly would help us towards our goal if we could fill up those lines now. Here's the number to call to get all those matches: 888-291-8000.
Catholic Answers Live.
Do you love sharing the gospel and want to learn to be more effective? Join the St. Paul Street Evangelization online School of Evangelization. You will learn to build bridges of trust and make disciples by befriending strangers, proclaiming the gospel, inviting people to the church, and praying with others. We'll ask for a pledge of financial support, but if you are unable to give, we'll give you a membership at no cost. Find out more and get involved today at streetevangelization.com. That's streetevangelization.com.
And welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. Want to give people an update on how we're doing towards our hourly goal of our $20,000 match. We are making progress, but we're not there yet. And we've got 15 minutes left in the show, so we are going to need to hear from additional people in order to match that $20,000. And as Chris said, we don't get it until we match it. So we do need to hear from you. The number to call is 888-291-8000. Once again, it's 888-291-8000. We're going to take at least one more call before the end of the hour, but there will be a break at the end of the hour. It's the longest break of the hour. It goes on for several minutes. That will be an ideal time to call for you. If you haven't already called, and please do call in, don't wait until the last minute, because the lines might fill up. But during that break, it'll be an ideal time to call. You won't miss anything. Well, we've got the people standing by. The number is 888-291-8000. Once again, it's 888-291-8000. Where I was going before Catholic Answers' Skype crashed was we have people outside of North America who are recognizing the value of the show and willing to support it. Some of them may not even be from countries that are as economically developed as the United States, which is the largest economy in the world. So here you are, for our North American listeners, in the most developed economy in the world, and people who are elsewhere are supporting Catholic Answers. What's more, as Chris Check mentioned, we're getting calls from people who aren't even Catholic, and they recognize the value of the show and are willing to support it. So you Catholics in our audience, do you really want to be outdone by people who are not even Catholic or who aren't even in the United States? This is your chance to step up. Give us a call, 888-291-8000. Once again, 888-291-8000.
That's the triple match. Well, I mean, a triple your money kind of thing. It's not a triple match. It's a double match. So if you can make that $10 a month pledge, as I said, you become a member of Society 315. The phones are starting to fill up a bit. We still have 8 available, but I do appreciate that people are answering that call. We do have a whole bunch of our colleagues waiting by the phone and ready to take your calls. They'd love to talk with you, but they can also get you done in about 90 seconds if you need to get it done quickly. Just let them know what you need, and they'll get it done. 888-291-8000. Maybe you could come in at the $20 level. So in addition to being a member of Society 315, you would get the new book, Twisted Unto Destruction by Don Johnson. It's about the social consequences of the Sola Scriptura doctrine. And maybe you could come in at the $45 a month level. And then you would also get Jimmy Akin's book, A Daily Defense, 365 Days, +1 to becoming a better apologist. All of that is subject to that double match right now if it is a monthly pledge. 888 291-8000.
Si, let's try to take lines 1 and line 5 before the end of the hour.
Okay, let's go to line 1 then. Irene in Columbus, South Carolina, listening on the Catholic Answers app. Another thing, I always forget to mention that, but that app is paid for and used by tens of thousands of people around the world. It's paid for by
Irene,
donors.
what's your question?
Hang on, Irene. I got to put you on the line. Go ahead, Irene, with your question for Jimmy.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I am calling because my husband is a materialist. He would describe himself as a materialist, specifically a property dualist, I suppose, and I'm a practicing Catholic. And I was wondering, Jimmy, if you have any recommendations for terminology or thought experiments or paradigms that I can use to create a common ground for us to talk about things like life and the soul and sort of like the internal experience of consciousness.
Okay.
That's my question.
There are, so I'll have to answer this briefly, and feel free to call back on non-pledge drive days when I could go into this in more detail. But there are certainly things you can do. One of the things that I would tend to discuss with them is moral realism, because regardless of whether or not he personally believes in real good and evil, it is something that he defaults to, because all humans default to being moral realists. They act as if good and evil are real qualities, and yet, so for example, there are probably things, I don't know what it might be in your husband's case, but maybe racism, maybe murder, but there are going to be some things that your husband will certainly feel are just wrong. And if that's the case, great. But notice that those properties are not empirical properties. You can't go into a lab and measure the goodness or evilness of an action on a spectroscope. These are not properties that are something that you can just read off of a scientific instrument. And yet, nevertheless, humans are built to believe in these properties. They're human universals. They appear in all cultures. And as a result, we see that belief in non-empirical qualities is something that's found in all human cultures. And if he's prepared to say, yeah, I think some things actually are right and some things actually are wrong, then he's acknowledging the reality of things that go beyond simply the material. And so that's one line of discussion that I would propose. There are others, like, for example, I think one way of arguing that there's more to the world than just the material is by pointing to evidence we have for survival after death. There are instances of near-death experiences where people come back from the near-death experiences with veridical information, meaning information that can be confirmed that they learned while they were clinically dead, when their heart and brain were not functioning. I did a whole episode of Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World about that. You might want to listen to that. But those are a couple of pointers that I would give you in the short space we have right now. But call again and we can talk more in the future.
Thank you very, very much for that call. Appreciate it. We are now coming up right on the halfway point of our pledge drive. There are 7 lines open at the moment, and you can help us reach that $225,000 goal by tomorrow when we finish the program. That's when we'd like to be at that $225,000 goal. We got those matches for you, especially for new monthly pledges. 888-291-8000. 2 matches for new monthly pledges. 888-291-8000. All of those matches also apply if you go safe and secure online to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. There you can do it all yourself, and you can get it done pretty quickly. It's designed to get you through quickly. It'll work with your phone, with your computer, whatever you're using. Or you can just text the word Catholic to 24365, and that will get you where you need to go to make your pledge. Catholic to 24365. 888-291-8000 is the number. We are coming up right now on the break. When we take that break, we'll be away for just a few minutes, but that is a perfect time to call. Maybe we could fill up all those lines. About 9 lines open right now. 9 lines open. People sitting here in the building, our colleagues, ready to take your calls. 888-291-8000. Second hour, Tim Staples will be here. We will continue with Open Forum. This right now, as we head into the break, is the perfect time to make your pledge. Jimmy, thank you very much for a great hour.
My pleasure, and I'll see you tomorrow. Do give us a call, 888-291-8000. That's 888-291-8000. Remember, God loves and will reward a cheerful giver.
Just one more time before we go. If you got $10,000 and you'd like a little piece of Catholic Answers history, the crest that stayed here on the wall for about 6 years right here in this studio, it's sitting next to me in a chair, and you can have it. Whoever gives that $10,000 gift today will get it. But we need help from every level of giving, and especially those new monthly pledges that will get 2 matches right now. 888-291-8000. Back in just a couple minutes from the break. Perfect time to call. Perfect time to visit CatholicAnswersRadio.com. Right back after this. Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. I'm Cy Kelly, your host. As promised, Tim Staples here with us for the second hour. Open forum. You are welcome to call. I'm only going to give out the number a few times here at the beginning, so jot it down if you're planning on calling later, or just dial now, 888-318-7884, 888-318-7884. That's the number into the studio here, where we can get you on the air with Tim, and you can ask whatever you like. It's an open forum. Ask anything you want, whether you're Catholic or not. As a matter of fact, we'd love to talk with anybody. If you know a lot about the Catholic faith, maybe you know almost nothing about the Catholic faith, but you heard something and you want to ask about it, this is your opportunity. 888-318-7884, 888-318-7884. Now I'm going to move to the other number because Jimmy Akin and I were just on the previous hour asking you to support this radio program, to keep us on the air with this program and the other programs that we do on the internet or on podcasting and all that. And people have been very, very generous with us, but we still have a long way to go. So last hour, we did, in fact, meet our match. It was a little bit closer run than I would have liked it to be, but that's me. But we made it. So this hour, we've got, again, a $20,000 dollar-for-dollar match, and then a second match that goes towards anybody whose pledge is a monthly pledge, a new monthly pledge. So any new monthly pledge is going to be matched twice. Any pledge at all, whether it's $1 one time, $1,000 one time, or $100 a month, however you do it, it's going to be matched with that from that $20,000. But if it's a monthly pledge and a new monthly pledge, it'll be matched again, essentially tripling the money to us. 888-291-8000 is the number to call. Tim Staples, thanks for being here with us.
Man, it is so good to be with you, and I'd love to hear we made the match. But, folks, you know what? We want to do more than just make the match this hour. We want to get that goal of that $225,000. That's our goal for the whole 3 days. Am I right?
$225,000.
And we've got a long way to go. But, folks, we need you to jump on the phone, okay? I kind of like it better when Jimmy goes second and I go first. You know why?
Why?
Because I feel like I have more pressure on me here.
Oh, really?
So my blood pressure goes that much higher.
No, we can't have that. We can.
So can you help me out, guys and girls? And let's get some big callers on the line right now, as well as our small donors that are our heart and soul. We need those new donors. And, we were talking yesterday, Cy, about how the number of givers per tower actually dropped.
Yeah.
And, and I don't know if that's because of COVID. I don't know what it's because of. But I know we used to have 16 givers per tower, and we're down to 13.
Yeah.
That is a big drop for us. And so we need new givers as well this hour, okay? New givers. And remember, do we have that triple deal that we had yesterday?
Yeah.
If people get that is the most incredible thing, folks. Right now, we have a match over and above the 20,000, right?
For every new monthly pledge.
That is incredible, and that's what we need. You can be that new monthly donor that gives $10 a month, $25 a month, and catch this, folks, $25 a month, you're not just giving $300 a year anymore. It's $900 because of that match. That is incredible. So we need some new givers to get that per tower number up, and we need to hit that as many as we can to take that match of, and how much was that match? Up to
65,000.
65,000.
And I don't know where we are, but
goodness.
that's enough. I mean,
that's a whole lot. Number one. But number two, folks, we need to have that big donor. And I think we have a gift, don't we?
We're going to, anybody who gives $10,000 today, Chris said give them a part of the studio. So we
are actually,
the old,
this is incredible.
The Catholic Answer shield right here.
We have never done this before, and we're going to show it, I guess,
and we're all
going
to sign it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a massive Catholic Answers, our logo. It's solid as a rock. It's heavy.
That's why we're not showing it right now. I don't want to pick it up. All right, you talk. I'll pick it up. Go ahead.
All right, the first person to call in and give that $10,000 gift. And remember, guys and girls, that's doubled. So you're giving $20,000. Yeah, you couldn't pick it up.
Let's just move on.
We're going to ship you this thing. It is absolutely awesome. But, folks, we really do. We need we're going to hit this match, and we need more. We've got to get that $225,000, and we want to go beyond, folks, because there's a lot more that needs to be done. You and I know, Cy, everybody listening to me knows right now, the world is in desperate need of the gospel of Jesus Christ as never before. We're in a culture that is spiraling out of control. There is chaos throughout the world. I mean, Who in the world would have thought, Cy Kellett, just 10, 20 years ago, that we would have, some men have vaginas and some women have penises being pushed on the entire world, and if you don't accept this stuff, you're actually being persecuted. Well, guess what, folks? We're standing up here at Catholic Answers for the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. There is no compromise here at Catholic Answers because there is no compromise for true Catholicism. We proclaim the fullness of the gospel, but folks, we just can't do it. We really can't without you guys helping. Okay, look. We've got 14 folks available. There's only 3 people on the line right now. We need you to call, and we need to start right from the start here, folks. What would you give in exchange for a soul? Jesus says that in Matthew 16:26, right? What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? And of course, the implication is there's not enough money in the universe possible because a soul is of such precious value. Well, folks, we have lives changed every day by the gospel of Jesus Christ that we proclaim here at Catholic Answers Live. If that's not a reason to give, well, then there is no reason to give. That is the reason to give. So, folks, please, I need you to jump on the phone right now. That phone number, 888-291-8000. 888-291-8000. Or remember, you can go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com, or you can text Catholic to 24365. We come to you, as you know, day in and day out, and we bring the fullness of the gospel. We're coming to you now asking for your help. Will you help us? I know you will. Get on that phone, 888-291-8000.
888-291-8000. Lots of folks waiting to take your calls, and we do need your help this hour. We've got a $20,000 dollar-for-dollar match, and we've got that second match for anyone who will start a new monthly pledge. Going to the phones now to let Tim do his regular job. Tanner in Philadelphia, listening on the Catholic Answers app. Tanner, thank you for your call. Go ahead with your question for Tim.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the line. I'm actually a newer Catholic. I recently converted from Pentecostalism. So one of my questions is, as I study into the history of Christianity and then Judaism, something that I keep on coming across is the claim that Yahweh was one among many gods and that ancient Jews were actually polytheists. So that's something that I didn't really expect to come across. So my question is, where did that start? And why is that even a theory or a claim,
Sure. Well, certainly we see in sacred scripture that when God calls Abraham, he calls him out from the context of a polytheistic culture. In fact, such darkness had descended on the earth, as we know from the fall of Adam and Eve, that polytheism, human sacrifice, just among the Canaanite religions alone, we know as a historical fact, there was, the offering of babies. Similar to our culture today, we offer our babies on the altar of convenience, as Pope Francis has said, the throwaway culture. We throw away babies, right? They offered babies and human beings to God in sacrifice. So it was a tremendously dark time when God called Abraham and began to reveal himself as the one true God. So naturally, there would be a problem among the Jewish people because they were inundated by the cultures around them with polytheism. So it's not like, God revealed the one true God to Abraham and the next day all of Israel was on board. Yeah, man, there's one God. It was certainly a process. I mean, we have the powerful example of, for example, when Abraham offers his son Isaac, when God says no to that. There was many messages being sent there, but one of those messages was no more human sacrifice, folks. I mean, among the many other things we could talk about. So God is dealing with his people, and by the time of Moses, of course, he reveals himself in an even more powerful way, revealing himself in the intimacy of the name. And that's where your question comes in, Yahweh. the name of God. Remember, Moses said, can you give me your card? I mean, I'm going to go to these people and tell them the true God has sent me. How about your card? Maybe a phone number or something I could give them, right? Well, God reveals his name, which, of course, to the ancient people was incredibly powerful because it revealed something about the nature of the one who reveals the name. Names were extremely important in ancient in the ancient Oriental culture in general. And so God reveals himself as simply ego eimi ho'on. I am the being. I'm quoting from the Septuagint there. That is pure being, infinite being, absolute being, no beginning, no end, and so forth. And so from that time especially, you see the clarity. And what really sets Israel apart is the fact that, the Lord, what is the great Shema of Deuteronomy 6:4, right? Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one. So by that time, you have a culture that's permeated with the truth of the one true God. And when they go into the promised land, in fact, they are expelling all of the polytheistic cultures that are sacrificing babies and human beings and whatnot. So it is the one true God that clearly triumphs. Now, there are those who want to say that, in sacred scripture and so forth, even some of the inspired writers may have believed in many gods, and that is simply false. Whenever you encounter things like that in the Old Testament where they'll refer to multiple gods, it's kind of like the way St. Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 5, in this world there are gods many and lords many. This does not mean St. Paul is a polytheist, okay? No, he's saying that basically you can make a god out of anything, right? Money, power, or even the gods of the pagans who we know from St. Paul are actually demons in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, right? But he'll speak that way. And in the same way, the inspired authors in the Old Testament will talk about the gods of the surrounding countries and so forth, but not in the sense that they believe they're real or that they are polytheists. So, when you see that kind of stuff, that's just nonsense. But thanks so much for your call. And I have to say, Cy, and I say this often at our drives, this is why you all are giving, folks. People call in and they have really important questions. I mean, they're being taught things that aren't true. Moses was a polytheist. Now, that's not what the writer said. Okay, but
yeah,
what our caller said. But, there's all kinds of nonsense out there, and there are caricatures out there as to what the Catholic Church truly teaches. And folks, what we are here to do is to give you one Lord, one faith, one baptism, as St. Paul says it in Ephesians 4:5. And what would you pay for that? Folks, we're asking you right now to call. And look, we've got 15 now. We had another Catholic Answers person get online.
Right.
And we've only got 2 phones being used right now. Folks, we are falling behind. So we need your help now. Pick up that phone, call 888-291-8000. That's 888-291-8000. We need your help. You're making me nervous now because we're still only got 2.
It's been very
on
slow
the line
this
there.
hour, Tim.
Very
really
slow.
Yeah, the
All right.
lines are very slow.
Remember, you can go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com as well. You can text Catholic to 24365. But remember, folks, we're up against it right now. I mean, we have a culture that is hitting us from every direction. We have chaos like we've never seen. But I'll guarantee you this. You hear nothing but Catholic Answers when you tune in to Catholic Answers Live. Please, folks, we can't keep this up without you. One more time. Folks, there's somebody out there right now that can give that $10,000 gift. And we've got an incredible gift for you. If you will make that $10,000 pledge right now. We've got more than one of you I know listening right now that can give $5,000. And I'll guarantee you on Judgment Day, you will not be sorry you gave this money because you will be blessed. I will guarantee you that. If you persevere till the end and you are saved, you will be blessed for your participation in the proclamation of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I will guarantee you that. Please, folks, we've got many of you that can give that $1,000. And I know we've got a boatload of folks out there that can give that $10 a month, that $25 a month. And I'll bet you we have some folks, you're already giving. You're already giving $25 a month. And God bless you. Thank you. But let me challenge you to double it. Double it. 888-291-8000. And remember, it will be tripled because of that match Cy mentioned earlier. Those of you that are, or would that only be for the new folks?
No. But if you add to your pledge,
that's a new gift.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right.
You hear what we just said there? That means it is tripled, folks. $25 a month becomes $900 instead of $300. What a deal. All right, one more time. That number, 888-291-8000. Go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com, or you can text Catholic to 24365.
A little pickup in the phones, but it's very, very slow, and that means 8 of our colleagues are ready to take your calls right now. They're not doing anything, just waiting for you to call. So please don't feel like you're going to take up their time. They want to talk with you, whether it's a very large donation, a very small donation, or anything in between. They'd love to talk with you, and they are available to talk with you right now. 888-291-8000. Joining us in the studio right now, I call him Development David. It's David Matheson, Director of Development. Hi, David.
You've never called me that to my face.
No, I call you that to other people. I say,
okay.
And I put in a quote, I'd be like, Development David said.
Well, it's, yes, as the fundraising director here at Catholic Answers, I'd like to say, Tim, you're doing a great job. Cy, if you could pick it up a little bit. Oh, wow.
It's Pick on Cy Day.
Every day is.
No, you know what? It's the message that we're telling here is so critical. And Tim, you and Jimmy, you guys kind of run the show, so to speak, on our fundraising drives because you're so good at communicating the message. And that message is that the world is crying out for truth.
Amen, brother.
There are so few places that you can go and know you're going to get the truth.
Amen.
Whether in the Catholic world or otherwise.
Amen.
But here at Catholic Answers, you're going to get the truth. And that is a precious commodity. The thing is, we would not be able to continue to do this unless we continue to get the support that we need from the folks that every drive, folks step up and they're here to give that $10 a month or that $10,000 one-time donation. And we are so blessed, but we do need folks to step up here in the last half now. We're more than halfway through our 3-day drive.
And we're at 1/3. We're at virtually exactly 1/3 of the goal. So we've got
we got to pick it up.
We got room to go. We got some ground to make up. There's no doubt about it. I do want to say, I know Chris. If you were listening yesterday, Chris Check came on and talked about the matches and kind of how they work. I want to give a shout out to the folks that have put up the money for the match for this particular
thank you for
drive.
that, David. Yeah.
So I don't know that we've done this before, but I'm going to run through them really quick if you don't mind. So we've got DJ and Jody from Maryland. We got Chris from Georgia, Jean and Mary from Arizona, Paul and Susan from Ohio, Charlene, Art and Barbara, Eric and Suzanne from California, Tom and Patty, Jack, Jerry and Carol, all from Nebraska, Tom and Kathy from Indiana, Jim from Texas, Joe from New Mexico, Kurt from Wisconsin, and Mike from Illinois. What a great diversity in geography. And again, this speaks to the reach of Catholic Answers Live, Catholic Radio. A couple other things real quick. Inevitably, when we talk to those who run the radio stations, the individual radio stations out there, they tell us again and again, you guys are great. Your show is the most popular show that we run. Catholic Answers Live, we don't just say we're the number one show on Catholic radio. Right. We hear it from our listeners, and we hear it from the radio networks as well. Yeah. And we hear it from our parents as well.
Yeah, right.
Especially
and she does not lie. All right.
Right. And the other thing I do want to say real quick is, and a lot of folks don't know this, but Catholic Answers Live is free, without cost, to any radio station that wants to play it, wants to run it. So, for example, hey, you're out in New Mexico, let's say. You're called to buy a tower and start your own Catholic radio station. You want to carry Catholic Answers Live? We will give it to you for free. Why are we able to do that? Because of the people that donate today and yesterday and tomorrow and every quarter when we do this drive. That's why it's free. And so much of our content is free, right, Tim?
Yeah.
So whether it's the brand new pro-life booklet that we have just launched a couple months ago, we're giving that away for free. whether it's the magazine. Catholic Answers magazine used to be a subscription. That is now free to anybody that wants it.
Yeah.
And the Catholic Answers Live radio show is free to any radio station that wants to run that as well. It's not really free, right?
That's right.
Someone has to pay for it,
Amen.
and it's our donors that allow us to do this sort of work. So thank you to everybody out there. Let's get on the phones, give us a call, and if you can, please help support these efforts.
And what is that number?
888-291-8000.
We just need to hear it in the golden
wait, that was too fast. Hold on.
tones.
That was too fast. 888-291-8000.
Oh, that voice.
What a voice.
Oh, come on. 888-291-8000. Or you can go safe and secure online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com. Every pledge matched up to $20,000 this hour. If it's a new monthly pledge in any amount, it is double matched. You get matched again. So as Tim said, if that's that $25 a month, you think, well, that's $300 in the course of a year, but it's $900 right now with the match. I want to say thanks because we were kind of begging a little bit there because we weren't seeing folks on the phone, and there was a little surge on the phone, which brings a lot of energy into the building. Maybe we could do that again because it's starting to subside again now. 888-291-8000, a perfect time to get involved right now.
Amen.
This Catholic radio thing, you talk about all these affiliate stations, nearly 350, 360, I'm not exactly sure how many. We love them and try to support them. I mean, Tim, will tell you, for years you've been going on people's radio stations and helping them with their pledge drives.
Absolutely.
We don't charge for any of that, of course, because we're partners in this thing. So you got to support your local Catholic radio station. You should support the EWTN network. But we make the programming. That's all that we do. We make these 2 hours daily of programming. We're pretty happy with it. It's a very simple formula. Anybody can call and ask any question about the Catholic faith, and we got people here who are able to answer them. And it's a formula that's gone on for 25 years now and has made a difference in thousands and thousands of lives. I'm the newcomer here. I'm not saying I've been doing it for all that time, but we've had wonderful people like Tim and Jimmy and Carlo and Trent and now Joe Heschmeyer and new folks coming on all the time. And then, the folks who did it long ago and have moved on, like Matt Frads of the world and Jason Everett's of the world and Pat Madrid's. It's just been a wonderful gift of reinvigorating apologetics and reinvigorating really a lot of people's faith. And so I am so glad to be part of it, and I am not shy at all or sheepish at all about asking you, please support it. Because it's got a lot more work to do. Let me just put it that way. It's got a lot more work to do.
Hey, guys, you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. I'm going to go back and get on the phones.
All right,
Peace, brother. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, so
Development, David.
Call right now, and David's going to run.
Yeah,
Maybe
get
you'll
David on
get
the line.
him right
Call
now.
Get David on the line. 888-291-8000.
We can sing that, brother.
I know. That's pretty good teamwork right there.
All right.
All right, back to the phones. We can't let Tim get off doing his regular work. Let's go to Brianna in Oregon, watching on YouTube. Brianna, thanks for waiting. Go ahead with your question for Tim.
Hi. So I have a friend who is looking into Catholicism, and my question is on her behalf. She would like to know how praying to Mary is more efficient or effective than just praying to Jesus alone. Like, is there a higher success rate with Mary's intercession, if that makes sense?
Yes, that's a great question, Brianna. And here is the key. This is never about either or. You either pray to Jesus or you pray to Mary. And why is that? Because all of us, as members of the body of Christ, are in Jesus. The only way our prayers are effectual, whether it's the Blessed Mother, Cy Kellett, St. Paul, or whomever, is because we are praying in him, with him, through him, as the priest prays in the Eucharistic prayer, and as we see in Romans chapter 11, verse 36, where that comes from. It's in him, with him, and through him. I always like to think of it this way, Brianna, and this is how I explain it to them. Say, look, Hebrews 7:24 says, Jesus Christ ever liveth to make intercession for us at the right hand of the Father, right? He is our one mediator, our one intercessor. In fact, mediator, intercessor are synonyms, right? Our one intercessor before the Father. So there is nobody that's more efficacious than Jesus in his intercession. But yet, St. Paul says in 1 Timothy chapter 2, first of all, I exhort that prayers, thanksgivings, intercessions be made for leaders and for all men. Why? He says in verse 4, because God wills all to be saved. For there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Jesus Christ. So notice, there's one mediator, Jesus. Therefore, he says, I want you all to intercede. There's one intercessor, one mediator. Therefore, everybody pray. Why would Paul say that? Is he confused? Doesn't he know? I mean, if you could pray to Jesus, St. Paul, he's the one intercessor. Why would I waste time asking Cy Kellett to pray for me when at the same time I could be asking Jesus? Well, that misses the whole point. It's Jesus through his word that wills us to pray for one another. God loves and Jesus loves to see us using the gifts that we have in communicating life to each other.
Catholic Answers Live would like to take this opportunity to thank our partners in airing our daily program. Please support the stations and networks that carry us each day, ensuring that we have a platform for broadcasting the show. And please bear in mind that while we don't have to pay for airtime on our affiliate stations, neither do they contribute to the operating costs we incur. It's a great relationship, but it requires that we turn to you, our devoted listeners, for your prayers and financial support to cover our ever-growing expenses. Please call 888-291-8000 right now and help to keep Catholic Answers Live strong. That's 888-291-8000. Or you can donate securely online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com. What began as a humble one-hour daily show that was carried by 4 stations has, with the generosity of many fantastic people like you, blossomed into a 2-hour broadcast heard on hundreds of AM and FM stations, the internet, Sirius XM radio, Facebook, YouTube, and via podcast. We don't make that possible. You do. We simply cannot continue this media mission without your most generous gift today. Call 888-291-8000 or log on to CatholicAnswersRadio.com and donate now. People tell us all the time how much they depend on Catholic Answers Live to help them better learn, live, and share their faith. What they're really saying is they depend on you for that. Will you come through for them right now? It only takes a couple of minutes to make a huge difference at 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. Again, 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. No matter how much you give, be assured of our gratitude and know that God will richly bless you. Phone 888-291-8000 or go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. It's important that you take this important step right now, today, to make sure that Catholic Answers Live is here tomorrow and for years to come. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. I'm Cy Kellett, your host. Tim's right in the middle of an answer, and I'll let him go right back to it, but I'll let you know where we are, too. We've got a $20,000 dollar-for-dollar match to use up this hour, and we've only used up 1/5 of it. We're halfway through the show, and we have 4/5 of it still to use, which is good news to you if you were thinking about making a pledge, because every pledge matched dollar for dollar up to $20,000, and if it's a new monthly pledge, it's matched a second time from a second donor who made that match available to us. So let me just give you the number and the web address where you can go to make your pledge. Please try to fill up those lines right now. We're really struggling at the moment, but we'll get there. We're just struggling at the moment. The number is 888-291-8000, 888-291-8000, or safe and secure online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com. When we went to the break, Tim was in the midst of his answer. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, and so just to wrap it up for our last caller, that, Jesus himself said in Matthew 18:19, where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Notice, there is a special power, more power when there's more than one of us, when we join together, says Jesus, right? So what is that saying? It's saying that God wills for us to pray for one another, to intercede for one another, and there is power. And of course, you have to add to that different members of the body of Christ have different gifts. Some have gifts of healing, for example. That's why in Acts chapter 5, people just wanted Peter's shadow to pass over them, right? Well, why don't you just go to Jesus and ask for healing? Why do you got to wait for Peter's shadow? Because members of the body of Christ have particular gifts to communicate the life of God to other members. St. Paul in Acts chapter 19, they just wanted to touch a handkerchief to his body and then touch it to other people and they would be healed. You see, all of us as members of the body of Christ have gifts. And one of the most important gifts, it's the gift of sanctifying grace in our hearts and in our lives, our union with Jesus Christ that empowers us to be able to pray for one another. And remember, Jesus wills it. God wills it. Of course, Jesus could come down here right now and preach this to you a lot better than this knucklehead. He could come down here and do a better job than Cy Kellett and Tim Staples, but he doesn't. He wills for us to do it. Remember that. Then it makes sense when you see in Revelation chapter 5, verse 8, 24 elders in heaven. And what are they doing? Are they just sitting there looking at Jesus? And no, it says they're receiving the prayers coming up from the earth, and they take them to the throne of God as the angels do in Revelation 8, verses 2 through 5 as well. Folks, you know what? When we answer questions like these, a lot of times folks calling in don't even realize it. But those answers are not just for the people calling in, but there could be literally thousands of people listening, perhaps millions around the world. And many of them, thousands perhaps, needed to hear that answer. And that becomes a first step toward the church, toward coming back to the church, toward coming back to Jesus in his one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. And folks, look, we are really behind right now. We are further behind than I can remember being behind in an hour. That at least that I've been on. Okay, folks, we've got 17. One just went offline. We have 16 folks waiting for your calls. We only have 3 callers right now, and we are way behind our goal. Folks, we need you to help us to meet this match. And you know what, folks? We need somebody to step out now as never before, at least from my perspective, Cy Kellett. We need somebody to give that $10,000 gift. Folks, is that you? Can you call us right now at 888-291-8000? And don't you dare let the devil tell you, well, I was just going to give $25 and Tim says he needs... No! We need everybody to call, folks. I hate that because that's a lie from the devil. We're not just saying this, folks, when we say that it is those $25 a month gifts, those $100 gifts one time, those $20 one-time gifts. That's our bread and butter here at Catholic Answers. So don't let the devil lie to you and say don't call. You call right now at 888-291-8000. It's 888-291-8000. Remember, you can go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. You can text Catholic to 24365, but we need that $10,000 gift right now, folks. And we need a couple of $5,000 gifts at 888-291-8000. And I know there's more than one, folks, who can call and give that $1,000 gift. And remember, if you just, this is amazing to me, Cy Kellett, if you just give that $25 a month gift, you've given $900. Folks, give us a call now. 888-291-8000. 888, that's 888-291-8000, or go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com or text Catholic to 24365. We need you.
You know, it may seem a little unseemly that we ask for these large gifts, but it's not at all, because what we're doing is worth it. And I strongly, strongly believe that. I mean, the world is descending, not ascending. It's descending into a kind of moral chaos and into confusion about reality and truth. I've often said it, and I will say it again. It used to be on Catholic Answers Live We had to defend the divinity of Jesus. We had to defend, sacred tradition. Now we have to defend basic biological realities. And where are you seeing that done? And done in a way that I strongly believe this, so I am not shy about saying it. I think it's done with genuine charity every day here in a way that the person alone in the car, the person listening alone at home, who can kind of consider and think deeply and not have to be nervous about who's sitting there next to them while they do so, can really let it sink in and think about it, that there is a way, a truth, and a life, and that is the person, Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And what he's given us is worth keeping. It's not something to be thrown away and move into some post-human future or whatever new weird thing they've thought up today.
Yes.
But to live as human beings, to live as brothers and sisters to one another, it's worth it. And so when we have a need, we say the need. We're not shy about it. And right now, we need some help. We need some help from folks who can make that $1,000 donation. I'll tell you what, right now, we're getting lots of help from very generous people who are taking us up on that recurring gift offer.
Praise God.
I mean, I see a lot of $20 recurring gifts. It means everything to us.
Absolutely.
But in addition to that, we do need those who can make that $1,000, maybe a $2,500 gift, maybe a $5,000 gift. We saw a $10,000 gift yesterday. I mean,
Yes,
that's
we did.
beautiful and helpful. And I ask for it not because it's going into my pocket, but because it pays the electric bills. And so we can say the things that need to be said into a society that is in desperate need of a person. And that person is the Lord Jesus Christ. And that's what we
Amen.
try to share here every day.
You know what, Si, I was saying earlier, let's not just make the match, but let's go beyond and go for that $225,000. Now you know what I'm saying? Let's make the match, people, because we are really struggling here, folks. Can you help us? I want to go back to those phone callers. We've got some great folks hanging on the line, but can you help us, folks? 888-291-8000. We really need your help.
Ramona in Maryland, thanks. Just came in with a $1,000 gift. We really needed it, Ramona. And so
huge. Thank you
to everybody who's giving right now. Thank you. But again, I will say it. We know when we're in a state of need, and right now we are in the state of need for some of those larger gifts. If you can do that, God bless you. I'm so glad that you have been blessed in that way, and we'll be eternally grateful that you will bless us in that way. I'm going to let Tim do his job.
Let's do it.
We're going back to the phones. Let's see who we got. Who we got coming up here? Vince in East Troy, Wisconsin, listening on 88.5 FM. Vince, thank you for your call. Go ahead with your question for Tim.
Thank you.
Yes.
My question is, and I think you just mentioned something about it 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
If one is not in sanctifying grace, is he still in, or he or she, still in the body of Christ?
Oh, that's a great question, a very important question. In fact, canonically, we consider there's kind of like different levels of union with Christ. What do I mean by that? Well, we have people, Vince, who are not baptized. They are not believers, and they are absolutely in no relationship with the living God. They don't have the sacrament of baptism. Now, God is giving them particular graces. He's giving them graces in ways we're not privy to. And there are times, in fact, that people, Buddhists, whatever, have never heard of Jesus, may in fact be in a state of sanctifying grace because of their desire for truth, for God. I mean, all of that is possible. We leave the judging of those folks to God. But so, that's a category of people who need to be evangelized, right? They're not baptized. But then I think you're asking about the baptized. We have folks who are baptized into Jesus Christ, and as such, there's an old saying in Catholic theology, once a Catholic, always a Catholic. Well, if you're baptized into Jesus Christ, there's a sense in which you have a mark on your soul that can never be removed. That is a gift from Jesus Christ, and that gives you access to the other sacraments in accordance with your calling and life as well. That is a tremendous gift, even for those who are baptized as a Baptist, and they don't even know all the goodies they have available to them because of their baptism. That is still real. They have a real mark on their soul that will never go away. But you can be baptized, but not be in a state of sanctifying grace. Now, you're in a better place than the one who's not baptized because you have that mark, you have access to the other sacraments. If you repent, you can go to confession and be restored. But there is, that sense in which we say, though, you don't have sanctifying grace. You need to be restored to that state of grace. Now, even among them, there are different levels because you have some who have rejected the faith. And we call that, canonically, we talk about that being a complete break with Jesus. When you actually deny the faith, you've committed the sin of apostasy. That's actually a more grave state than one who still has the faith but has committed a mortal sin. They're cut off from the charity of Christ, and therefore they're on their way to hell until they are restored. But they still have faith. There's more hope for them in that sense. They're still connected to the body of Christ in a more profound way than the one who has committed the sin of apostasy or who has absolutely repudiated the faith. Okay, so there's different levels, but all of those who do not have sanctifying grace, generally speaking, because of course, God knows their hearts. And as I said before, there can be those extraordinary situations where folks who you think don't have sanctifying grace, they actually do. But we're talking on the objective level here. You have folks that are in need of baptism. You have folks that are baptized who have denied the faith. Then you have folks who have been baptized, and of course, they don't have sanctifying grace. And then you have those who are baptized but are in mortal sin. They're cut off from sanctifying grace. However, they still have that deeper connection because of their baptism and the faith that they have. And then, of course, you have those who are in full communion with Jesus Christ. So there's a sense in which we can say those who are baptized are a part of the body of Christ, even if they don't have a vivified relationship by the power of the Holy Spirit and sanctifying grace in their souls. And that's because of their baptism. However, just because you're baptized and you're a member of the body of Christ doesn't mean you're going to heaven. Because as Lumen Gentium section 14 says, we must persevere until the end in a state, say that 10 times fast, a state of sanctifying grace, if in fact we are going to make it to heaven. Vince, thank you so much for your call. These are important questions. In fact, all the questions that folks ask are important. Carl Keating used to always say, there's no such thing as dumb questions, only dumb answers. And I like that because every question, my friends, 10,000 questions do not add up to one doubt, is the old saying. Questions are hugely important, but folks, the answers are important as well. And that's why we're here at Catholic Answers, and that is to give people Catholic answers. Folks, here we go again. We've got 18 now. We've got some extra Catholic Answers folks coming in to get on these phones because we're in desperate need now. We're coming down to the wire. We've only got 17 minutes left, and we are not even close to making our match. Folks, we need you to call right now. Folks, the number, 888-291-8000. That's 888-291-8000, or call Catholic, or you can go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. You can give there, or text Catholic to 24365. But folks, we need you at 888-291-8000 right now. Can you be that $10,000 donor who will get this big old Catholic Answers logo? It's so heavy, Asai couldn't pick it up. He's got a bad back.
I just quit. I'm just a quitter. Let's be honest.
And it's awesome. We will ship it to you. If you are going to be that $10,000 donor, or folks, we need a couple of $5,000 donors right now. And how about that $1,000? I know we got a $1,000 giver just a little while ago, but we're going to need several more, folks, if we're going to make this match. Folks, we're here for you every day. You know that. You know us. We're asking you to be there for us right now, please. Pick up the phone, 888-291-8000.
888-291-8000. We'll go back to the phones and let Tim continue to answer questions, but let me thank just a few people, and this really is just a few people, but some of them made little comments that we wanted to pass on with you. Drew, one of our coworkers, took a call. A woman said to him, tell Tim Staples he needs to calm down.
Yes.
And
that's what my wife says.
She said, I don't care. He said that she might hear this on the air if she asks us to pass it along. And she said, I don't care. Tell Tim a donor said so. So, Tim, calm down. She's afraid your blood pressure is going to go up.
That's right. That's right. And my doctors are afraid of that too. So,
Julie from Texas just started
Julie.
a $30 a month donation. Julie, thank you, and God bless you for that. Therese from Massachusetts, the center of culture on earth. She just started giving $50 a month. Thank you, Therese, for that.
Beautiful.
She said she was poorly catechized as a child of the 70s. Really? Therese, you're the only one. The rest of us, we all got great catechesis in this. I'm only kidding. But she listens to the show, and it helps her in thinking about how she would answer the questions that when people call in. Eric says, Cy, please apologize to Richard in Bay City for my dropping the phone while he was on the call. Okay, sorry about that. It made a tremendous racket, but it was great talking with him. That's from Eric. So see, folks really do enjoy it when you call here. So take your time with them if you'd like. Ethan, a Focus missionary, just came in at $25 a month. We love those Focus missionaries. He visits Catholic.com all the time to help him in his work. Danielle in Midland just came in with a $120 a month pledge. That's why we're doing better, because all these folks are calling. Thank you. There are many more to thank, but I can't get to everybody. The number is 888-291-8000. We still haven't used up that $20,000 match, so any pledge you make right now is being matched dollar for dollar up to $20,000. 888-291-8000.
I'm getting nervous, Si.
I got to tell you something, because we're asking. We have a goal of $225,000. To make. It sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah.
You see that rocket ship they sent up this morning?
Yes.
That costs $109,000 or about $110,000 a minute. So we need 2 minutes. Of the Artemis spaceship. That's what we're asking for.
2 minutes.
For 3 months of Catholic Answers every day, proclaiming the gospel. That's what we need right now. It costs $30 a minute to produce this show. So 2 minutes of that Artemis budget, and we could keep this up. 888-291-8000. You want to go back to the phones?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Let's go back to the phones.
We've got 13 minutes, folks. Here we go.
Okay. I want to get to this one from Alba in Honduras, because she wasn't able to stay on the line, and we love our callers from Central America. And she just wanted to know this. The Mexican Supreme Court is currently debating whether to use public funds to buy nativity scenes for public display.
Yes.
How should I, as a Catholic, feel about this in terms of the relationship between church and state?
Yeah, Alba, great question. And as Pope St. John Paul the Great put it so beautifully in Evangelium Vitae, sections 71 through 73, especially section 73, the Ten Commandments, the natural law, are not Catholic. It's not a Catholic-only club, right? When we talk about natural law and natural religion, the idea of worshiping the one true God, every human being on this planet is bound by the reality that there is a God and we owe him a debt, right? We owe him worship, right? And so the idea now, and of course, the fact is that God, who everyone in the world owes that debt of worship to, has also revealed himself in Jesus Christ. That is an historical fact, as the Catechism of the Catholic Church says in section 643. And so governments, just like, and I love the way John Paul says this, governments, just like individuals, are bound by the Ten Commandments, bound by natural law, as well as, and in our Catholic tradition, the law that Jesus Christ revealed to us that we call the Sermon on the Mount. All of the world that comes to know the reality of Jesus are bound to follow him. And so when you have governments like the Mexican government and the United States of America in our founding documents, we understood that that we owe a debt to God, a debt of worship, and the fact that Jesus Christ is real. We have the Supreme Court opens every day here in the United States with prayer, as does the Congress, both houses, right? We've always understood this. In the modern era, we have lost our collective minds, literally. We've gone insane because the most sane thing you can do is honor God, who has revealed himself in Jesus Christ. So, of course, it is good, it is holy, it is just for any government to honor the Son of God incarnate at Christmas time. Folks, you know what? Sanity is a key word to, I think, my answer here, Cy Kellett.
Yeah.
Sanity, because this is what we need today. And the One Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church presents sanity to the world, my friends. Can you help us out to continue? Because, folks, we're dependent upon you. We're coming to the close here. Although, I want to say this, keep calling even after we go off the air.
Because they'll stay.
Because they will stay. We have not met our match yet, folks. We need that $10,000 gift. We're coming down to the wire. We need that $10,000. Can you do it? The $10,000 gift right now. Pick up the phone, 888-291-8000, or that $5,000 gift. There's more than one of you that could give $5,000 right now. That $2,500, as Cy said, that $2,500 gift, multiple $1,000 gifts. That's what we need. But folks, do not look. We've got 17 folks waiting for your call. We only have 7 on call right now. We're like the souls in purgatory right now. We are absolutely dependent upon the prayers of those outside. We're like the soul. We are absolutely dependent upon you guys calling right now, because we are not even close to making our match. We are coming down to the wire. Please, I want to come on tomorrow and be able to tell you guys that we made the match. Okay, but we are really going to need you to call. We've only got 7 on the line right now. We have 10 open lines, folks. Can you pick up the phone right now, folks? Call 888-291-8000. Maybe you're that one. You've already given $10 a month. Can you double that to $20? You've already given $25 a month. Can you double that to $50? Maybe you've been given $25 a month for years. Make it $50. But most of all, folks, I know there are folks, you can give that $500 gift, that $1,000 gift, that $5,000 gift right now. There are literally souls on the line. I mean, it's just a fact that people come to Jesus through this broadcast, and not just in the United States, but around the world. I have recently been traveling more than a human being ought to, and I'm so grateful to God to be able to travel again after my stroke that I had a year ago. I am so elated to be able to travel and to share the gospel. But folks, every single place I go, it doesn't matter what country I'm in, what state in the United States, every single place I go, people come up to me and say, I am Catholic because of you guys. Thank you. And they'll tell me, go back and tell Jimmy, tell Trent, tell Cy, thank you for what you do. Now, folks, we need your help right now if we are going to continue this. Remember, making this match is just helping us to get through these next 3 months. I want to go beyond that. I can't help but to say that, Cy.
Yeah.
I want to go beyond that and grow, but right now, we need your help to make this match because we are not there, folks, and we are coming down to the wire. One more time, pick up the phone. You've been thinking about it. You know you should do it. Pick up the phone right now. 888-291-8000. Go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com or text Catholic to 24365. Please, folks, we need your help.
We do, in fact, need your help. You should know, as Tim said, that the folks here will stay and answer the phones. As long as phones are ringing, there'll be somebody here to answer them. And after that, if you're listening later, maybe you listen to the podcast later, whatever the case is, if you are listening later, you can go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. The matches will still apply to you. Our donors have stipulated that, so I don't know if we'll make the match or not. But we're not there yet. We've got quite a ways to go. So 888-291-8000 right now. As Tim said, 10 lines open. Everybody in the office has made their way to the phone right now. Everybody who can has made their way to the phone because they're awaiting a little bit of a rush here at the end because, human nature, people wait till the end of the hour. If you've done that, please call now, 888-291-8000. Maybe make that monthly pledge of $10. Become a member of the Society 315 and have your pledge tripled right now because there are 2 separate matches for new monthly donors. Maybe you could do $20 a month. We'll send you Twisted Under Destruction, Don Johnson's new book, and your pledge tripled. Maybe you could do $45 a month. A Daily Defense, Jimmy's book, will be added to that and tripled. And maybe you're one of those people who is especially blessed and could make a larger pledge of $84 a month, maybe $100 a month. Become a member of the President's Club, and every dollar tripled right now. 888-291-8000. We're coming down to the line. We'd love your call right now. We're very grateful because we are not in the shape we were in at the half-hour mark. We're getting closer. And I'll tell you, I'll give you a little report right now. We're within, 20% certainly of making the match. So we can do it. We can do this here. And then we'll be in line to be fully funded for the next 3 months.
And you know what? I have to say this, Si. If we don't make the match, thank you to every one of you that have called and have given. I don't think we've ever not made the match.
I think we are, though. I really do think with people's generosity, we can do it in this next couple minutes.
Everybody was called. Thank you so much. But let's make the match. There's a couple of you right now. We're going off the air here in a few seconds. But keep calling. Give that $5,000, that $10,000. Give that $20 a month. Give that $25 a month. Give that one-time $100 gift. Folks, we can make it.
888-291-8000. We're going off the air, but the phones will still be available to you for several minutes. 888-291-1000. After that, just text the word Catholic to 24365 or go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. First thing tomorrow, we'll let you know whether we made the match and how we're doing as far as funding. See you then on Catholic Answers Live.